Fred here, welcome back to the Gear Obsession channel. In this episode, I wanted to talk a little bit about disaster preparedness, so stay tuned. Even though I'm talking a little bit about disaster preparedness, this is going to be a relatively long video. So if you like watching me for a long time, you're in luck. If not, I'm sorry. Just cut the video off and go. So, the end of the world is coming. December 21st is what the History Channel, History 2, Mayans, and a whole bunch of other cultures seem to all, sorry about that, center around something happening. But it shouldn't take that just to be prepared. So, any natural disaster, such as a super volcano going off, or a meteorite, or comet, or human-induced disaster, a global thermonuclear war, or whatever, you can't rely on the government and the existing infrastructure that we have to help you survive. You could see how easy it is for our infrastructure to get overwhelmed even lately with what happened with Hurricane Sandy, with the folks up in Staten Island and New York and New Jersey. FEMA is not up to the task. Even the local governments are not up to the task. And we keep on seeing this time and time again, and it's getting worse as, money, as the government sort of is having trouble managing their money. So it's up to you. And if you're the head of the household, you need to start thinking about basically setting up your family for success for at least a couple of weeks, being able to survive on your own. And that's what this video is going to center on. And it's not really going to center on homesteading, where you got a farm and you can plant things and all that, and have animals, because the majority of folks can't. But there are some really good channels out there that teach all about homesteading. But for those who live in the suburbs, where you can't really have farm animals and grow a very large garden, or for those in the urban setting, you're going to have to do something more like what I'm about to show you. And again, this is not a long-term solution. This is a couple of weeks. It gets you, first you should prepare for 3 days. After that, you should keep on working up from there. So, without further ado, wasting any more time, let's start going over all this stuff that I've surrounded myself with, and we'll get into it. A good place to start would be talking about the number 3 rule. You can survive without oxygen for 3 minutes, you could survive without water for 3 days, and you could survive without food for 3 weeks. I might have a hard time with that 3-week thing. And oh, by the way, this t-shirt, which is from Laugh Out Loud t-shirts that my wife had bought on Tanga, these Twinkies don't last forever, and you can't get them anymore anyway. So, a cool t-shirt. Anyway, let's start with water. For water, it would be very good just to have bottled water standing by. Some of the cheapest probably is just getting the big jugs of distilled water. Also, you can, if you have some questionable water in your area, you could get pills to disinfect water. You could boil it, as long as you have a means of starting a fire and things like that. But there are other things in your home. You most likely have a big tank of water, and you don't even know it. Your hot water heater. Most of us have hot water heaters, and you should clean it out every year. You attach a hose to the bottom and you flush it, and you get all that rust that's on the bottom out. And by doing that, you always have a fairly clean tank full of water. So you could at least have that, but you need to have a hose ready to hook up, and you can drain off water as you need it. Other things, like I said, to have bottled water, and maybe a means of filtering water, or using the tablets to disinfect water if you have a fairly good source, but maybe slightly questionable source of water around you. If you're around the ocean, you can maybe boil water and produce steam and capture that steam, basically distill the water. It is another way that you might do it, but you might need copper tubing and some pipe and a means of starting a fire to get that all going. So make sure you have your water covered. You wouldn't believe how much water a family uses in a day, so take a look at your water bill and see how many gallons of water. So, most people take a couple of gallons a day. Let's see. Let's hit medical stuff next. It's good to have a medical emergency kit because you can't rely on emergency services when they're overwhelmed. It's also very good to have aspirin for fat people like me. When you have to start, moving around a lot because you're trying to survive, you might have a heart attack, and this aspirin can help you out. So it's good to have a lot of aspirin. Also, you're going to get really nasty, and you might not be able to take a bath as much as you want to or shower as much as you want to because you don't want to waste water on that when you could be drinking it. So you could get some wipes like this to sort of keep you from getting extremely funkified. Don't forget about your animals. If you have pets, make sure you have enough dog or cat food around for them for a while. Of course, in desperate times, you might end up eating them. I hate to say. But I hate to think about doing that. Okay, next, let's go into communications. You can't rely on cell phones being working. So you could get yourself a cheap pair of these little radios in Walmart or whatever. They don't cost that much. Just make sure they're charged up, ready to go, or you got batteries for them. That's the thing. All these electronics require batteries. Excuse me. So make sure that you have a lot of batteries on hand. Wait for when there's a good deal out and then buy these big old packs. It's better to buy them in bulk. They cost less per battery like that. Also, it would be a good idea to get a ham radio license or CB. That could really reach out even further. And it's easier than ever to get a ham radio license. You don't have to know Morse code anymore. Continuing on with communications, it's good to just have an old-fashioned style radio so you can listen into maybe some local news and find out what's happening around you. It'd be really good to get one that's solar powered or hand generated so you don't have to waste your batteries on that. By the way, this one is made by Eaton. Eaton has a lot of gizmos like that. Let's see, what's next? Light. It's going to get dark. You might not have electricity, so what are you going to do about light? Well, the most ideal is something that's solar powered, that charges up via solar power. I did a review on this too a while back. Can't remember. This is called hybridlighting.com. But I leave this in the window, and it gets charged by the sun. But you also have to have like lanterns, something to light the room with. What I don't recommend is something like the Brooklyn lantern. I noticed, as seen on TV, they've been talking about this for quite a while. It sounds like a rattle trap, and the quality is very questionable, and it feels like it's made out of tin. If you see that ad on TV, don't buy it. Don't be sucked in. What I recommend is the Energizer. I did a review on this guy. Has very good battery life. It's not extremely bright, but it's bright enough to light up a room and do what you need to do. I used this during hurricanes before, and it's served me very well. It lasts a long time, and it could use either A or D batteries. I think it's A or D or A or C. Yeah, I'm not prepared. Sorry. Yeah, so you could put either A batteries or either C or D in there. You can see it has like a holder that you could use one or the other. I'll set this aside for now so I don't waste a lot of your time. Another good company is Coleman. Coleman, again, we're talking about just surviving in your home during a disaster. Coleman makes these that are really nice. I actually got this as a gift from my sister, which I really appreciate. But it's almost like a normal light, but it's plastic. It's not a paper cover. And it has a low, medium, and off, and it does a very good job. And it runs on 4D batteries for a very long time, but it also, Coleman has like a rechargeable module that you could also stick in there too. feels like it's made really good, I would recommend that. Alright, next, after about 3 or 4 days, you're going to start looking at people around you who didn't prepare, and their kids are trying, are starting to starve and get thirsty, and the parents or the head of the household didn't do their job. So now they're getting desperate, and they're going to come knocking on your door if they know that you're prepared, and people are going to get really irate. If you can help them, but if you're trying to survive on your own, you're going to have to protect what you got. So, we're going to start talking about arms. A great subject. First of all, this is loaded. So let me make this safe direction. I recommend, as far as firearms are concerned, guns that are extremely reliable and require as little maintenance as possible. And there's a few guns that fall into that category because, if crap hits the fan and everyone's running around, grabbing whatever they can get, you're not going to be able to find what you need to maintain a complicated weapon. So, as far as handguns are concerned, it's great for an urban environment where everything is tight, where it's hard to move around, maybe inside an apartment house or whatever. Good old Glock. I would recommend a common caliber, either 9mm, 45, or even 40 caliber. As far as other firearms are concerned, if you want to go semi-automatic, you got your AKs. The rest of these have been safety checked. I don't want to waste too much time, but a good old-fashioned AK will keep on running. And 7.62x39 is always available, it seems. Also, another great gun to have is a 22 caliber, and I recommend like a lever action over a semi-automatic because, again, simplicity. Something, the least amount of moving parts that won't fail. And this is a Henry lever action, and these things just keep on going and need very little maintenance. And the 22, you could go after small game, and don't tell me that you can't kill somebody with a 22, because a 22 caliber bullet has killed more people than any other caliber bullet. So don't give me that crap. So it's a good round. You can carry a lot of it, and it's relatively cheap. Another good gun is a good old-fashioned pump-action shotgun. This is a Benelli Nova pump. I have a tube extension on here. Again, this is a very flexible weapon. You could use slugs, and you could use various different size shots or BBs, double-aught buck, whatever, depending on what you're doing. Good all-purpose gun. It's good for defense of your home, and it's good for getting food. Now, doesn't do you any good having those firearms without having ammunition. So if crap hits the fan, you want to have your zombie ammunition. But seriously, for defense, double-aught buck is probably a good choice, but not the only choice. Again, it depends on your situation. If you're in apartments or you're in a home with other homes very close around you, you have to be aware of what's in this direction, through the two walls out your house, and then that next house is right there. Most rounds will penetrate easily through two walls and out your house and into someone else's. So you need to be careful, even when shooting in your house, that this is you're responsible for what that bullet leaves. If you kill somebody over there, that's murder. As far as knives are concerned, as far as folding knife, I like my Cold Steel American Lawman. My favorite. I use this for every day also. Really good. Good. You need to have a knife. You need to have a means to sharpen it. So have that available. For something bigger, if you're hunting or, again, defense, if you're looking for a fixed blade, you can't go wrong with a good old-fashioned K-bar. Oops, excuse me. I burped on camera. Another one of my really all-time favorite is the Charade Extreme Survival knife, which is a SCHF2 model. This thing is heavy. It's an incredible knife. I did a review on this. You should definitely check it out. It's an amazing knife. Oh, let's see. Alright, so we are running at about 13, probably about 14, 15 minutes. And let's move on. You should always have some sort of paper to write notes down, because when crap hits the fan, you got a lot to think about. And remember, I recommend a all-weather notebook of some sort to make sure you have a decent pen to write with. They sell those underwater pens, the ones that can write on wet surfaces. I would highly recommend those. And the last thing I'm going to get into is food. So before I do that, also, if you're having to get a little bit further out away from the house, and you have to chop through things, and also a good self-defense weapon, the Gerber Bear Grylls Parang is an amazing knife that can be used for all kinds of things. The only thing that sucks is that it's hard to get out, but these things can be used for so many different things, all purpose, not very expensive, and very handy for a lot of different things, and it's not overly big to be walking around with in the event of bad things happening. Also, if you got to move around really far and you're trying to keep it light, you got that Henry survival rifle. Yep, whole rifle, stores in the butt. It can float. Really good. So now let's talk about food. Let's talk about food. You could spend $100 on that bucket full of freeze-dried crap. Personally, it's overpriced. Also, MREs are being sold for an exorbitant amount of money, especially now with the whole December 21st scare. So I'm going to make you some other recommendations to buy up some food really quick, really cheap, that have a decent shelf life. First of all, these cup of noodles. A lot of you who went to college maybe survived on these things so you could have more money to drink. But you can buy basically crap loads of this for cents. Each cup is maybe like 24 cents or something like that. So, and these things got a shelf life of about a year. So you could get some freeze-dried food. The downside to this is you need to have fresh water and a way of heating it all available. But that is a lot of food, really cheap. So if you haven't prepared and all of a sudden you feel like, oh man, I really do need to prepare, this is a cheap way to get a whole bunch of food really quick. However, if you do have to heat this stuff, and if you're in an apartment, you're really limited on how to heat. So if you don't have electricity, the Sterno, you could use these inside, but again, you have all those other methods, propane and all that, but those, you gotta make sure you have ventilation. Other foods. Now, I have a lot of canned food over here. I went through a binge of potted meat kind of foods, but I think it's an ideal solution. Make sure you have a lot of gas X if you go down this route. But they got these things that don't require any refrigeration. These, by the way, are made by Spam, but you could get like beef stew and all that, and they come in plastic. So if you do have electricity and you can microwave, these things are good. But the big thing about this is they don't require refrigeration, and they're good for about a year. For a shelf life. Actually, this has a shelf life of almost 2 years. So those are pretty good. But let's see, Spam. I got there's a lot of different Spams out there. So you won't get bored with it, because they got jalapeno, black pepper, light, hot and spicy, regular Spam, bacon Spam, hickory smoked Spam, low sodium Spam, turkey Spam, and the one that I'm missing is the cheese. So it's like that movie with the shrimp, all different ways to do a shrimp. I'm the same way with Spam. But anyway, these things have a shelf life of about almost 3 years. And Spam has a huge history going back before World War II, but during World War II, this is the way that our government got real meat to our troops, and it just has a long life in the can. And we had a lot of troops forward deployed out there in Hawaii, and this became a staple in Hawaii. They even made a form of sushi out of this stuff called mushibi, which I think I did a video on. So, but again, this stuff, has a shelf life of over 2 years, almost 3 years if you get it as soon as it's made. And you can have yourself some meat. You also got Vienna sausages, all different types, hot, spicy, regular, light, barbecue style, chicken, and also don't forget that delicious potted meat. I added this because someone really wanted me to put in potted meat for some reason. Now you also have these Underwood products like liverwurst, chicken, ham. They don't have quite as long a shelf life, maybe about 2 years. What else do I have here? This actually had a pretty good shelf life. This is Bumblebee Crab meat. Now, crab meat, this stuff actually is good till September 2016, so that's about a 4-year shelf life. Pretty good, and you keep some seafood in your diet. It doesn't all have to be meat. If you want to go Mexican for about 2 years, right? Almost 3 years, you can keep beef and chili sauce tamales. But I came across some canned meat that has an amazing shelf life. One is the canned ham. Canned ham, this stuff is made in Denmark, has a shelf life here of 2017. That's like 5 years. 5 years. Another one that has almost as long a shelf life, another 5 years, is this stuff, corned beef. Now this corned beef, all the different brands that you see out there, they all look like they come in the same can, and they do. Not only that, they all come from Uruguay, and they're all inspected by number 30. If you look at the top of the can, they all said the same thing. So everyone is rebranding this exact same stuff that's coming from Uruguay. But this corned beef has a very long shelf life. So, food. So there are some options. Of course, there are many, many others. These are just some of the things that I did that I thought I would share. There's no one solution to this, other than, here's the deal. If you start ending up in a long-term situation of survival, the lone wolf is not going to be the person who has the best chance of survival. You're going to have to get along with your neighbors or people around you, because each of you have different skills and different abilities, and together you'll be able to work through issues a lot better than the single person. Plus, if you're that lone wolf, armed to the teeth, running through the woods with camouflage, and let's say you scratch your leg on something and it gets infected, now your one-man show has a single point of failure being you, and you will die. So, anyway, one last thing. I'm going to be doing a video on this here really soon. This is a Survivor by Corsair, and it is a USB thumb drive. And there you go. The latest one is a USB 3. This is the 32 gig version. Put all your important documents into a USB drive like this. The nice thing about this is it could survive 200 meters underwater. I've seen some videos where people boiled this in water and run over it with a car. So I would recommend you put all your important stuff, digitize it, stick it on here. I'm going to be doing a video on this. The one downside to this, though, is it doesn't have encryption, so if it fell into other people's hands, they can get your stuff, all of it. But there's some free solutions that I'll talk about when I do a review of this video. So after eating all this potted meat and really bad things, you're probably going to have to poop. So again, you're going to need gas X, and you're also going to need a lot of toilet paper. A lot of people forget in their prep and supplies that you need to have toilet paper, and the store runs out and you can't get toilet paper. Guess what you might be left with? or maybe you still left some leaves in the backyard or something if you're lucky to have a backyard. So, you know, it's a good idea to have a lot of toilet paper stored up, especially for a prolonged event. One thing I notice here, it's a good thing I'm doing this video because my aspirin is expired by a couple of months. So, that brings to the point where, you know, you got all these things, you know, if you got all these cans of stuff stored, you got to keep an eye on expiration date. So, you know, try to get stuff that you will eat in normal times and just sort of rotate it. So your oldest stuff rotated forward and put the new stuff in the back. So you're good to go and you don't end up with expired stuff like me. Okay, well, got a contest. It's about to end on December 21st. So this is a reminder, and I'll go ahead and provide the link below that I do have a contest going on. It's my End of the World contest, and it was also for going over 10,000 subscribers, which I still can't believe. But, you know, we're talking about Doomsday and what you would do to prepare and whether you believe the whole Doomsday December 21st mind calendar thing. So check out the contest. You have basically till December 21st. Don't wait till December 21st, because when I get up, you know, I'm going to take off that day, so I'll be home. And whenever I decide to put my video together to pick the winner, it's whatever I have right there and then as far as entries are concerned. So get the entry in on December 20th, because the 21st, I'm going to pick the winner. So check out the link below. So thank you very much for joining me here at the Gear Obsession channel. I really, really appreciate every friend, viewer, subscriber, and you. And let me see. This is going to be put on Tuesday, so I will see you Friday, unless I post something. I might put an update, and a quick update, a reminder for the contest for Friday. So I'll see you then. Take care. Bye.